dear. Just as I had felt a surge of horror, disgust, and fascination when watching that village head being twisted by evil, my body reacted to the horrors that were now flowing through my mind within the deepest of pleasure. It wanted these evils. It wanted to commit these evils. It wanted to thrill to every act of wanton hatred and cruelty that my imagination could conjure up. And every time I tried to force them down, they pushed back at me that much harder.
Is that what you want? You know it is. Those overworld friends are just your toys to beat and play with. And then finally break when they bore you. Their homes to tear down. Just so you can revel in their screams. Just give in to what your flesh desires.
My body wanted me to succumb. The images that horrified my mind tantalized my flesh in a way that I could never imagine being possible. But I knew where this road went. I knew what would happen if I gave in. I would be another monster, another slave to the underworlders, to be used and ultimately disposed of the instant I was no longer needed. And then there was Asi, Dawn, Liliana, and everyone else in Kahe village. All of them, people with their own lives and wills and feelings and futures before them. And the underworlders, they wanted to take all these things and drown them in a cesspool of pure evil before leaving them to rot in it. And no matter how hard my body urged me to cave in, I fought against that, picturing the people that stood to suffer if I gave in. And I fought. I fought and lost a bit more of myself with each passing second. The dulge of wanton selfishness drowning out my reasoning and compassion with each movement of Gwenor's form over my body. Slowly eroding everything that actually mattered to me in an exponential wave of cruel pleasure and false promises. Taking and perverting every memory I had, the images of the good people that lay within me. Promise.
Asahi, what?
Promise that if you do manage to escape back to your world, that you will always remember me as I am. Not the thing I'll become if the underworlders have their way. Asi, the first friend I had made since arriving in Burokku, the gentle warrior I had tended to when she needed me, and had guided me when I needed her. A brave young woman that had been so scared in the face of what seemed to be inevitable doom, and yet kept fighting anyway. Her image danced in my mind, like a photo I was desperately clutching to, even as hurricane winds threatened to tear it away.
No. Just give in.
Remember me.
What?
Huh? No, fuck that. I have to resist this evil. This ain't even a choice. I mean, it is a choice. I wonder... But who would seriously expect to succumb to the darkness? I think for story's sake, I need to resist the evil. Let's do it. No, this is my city. A deafening explosion suddenly filled the air, followed by a shockwave that knocked me and the three underworlders to the ground.
What?
Ah! What the? I had no idea what was happening, simply because I already had my hands full with a completely different struggle. I'd been in the midst of fighting off that evil that Gwenor had been drawing forth in me, and that monstrous mass of cruelty was still circulating through my mind. The horrid urges and temptations she had drugged up from the depths of my subconscious still hammered at my mind, and I was still fighting as best I could to force them back down where they belonged. But I felt like someone had blown up a dam in my mind, unleashing every single evil that humanity was capable of, and I was trying to force back that tidal surge where it had come from with my bare hands. All the same, I was marginally aware of at least what was happening. I'd felt it when I went tumbling to the ground, with Gwenor falling off of me in the process. I'd heard what sounded like Adriana and Nevia falling to the ground as well. And on some level, I realized that the precious blocks I needed to touch in order to command other blocks were well within reach. Ooh! But I simply couldn't focus on anything but trying to stifle the dulge of evil in my mind. evil! I just couldn't... Oh, wait, hold on. Now, if we think back, explosions, who could that be? Hang on! I recognized the voice I had heard. I knew it from someplace, but at that moment I simply couldn't place it. All I could do was thrash about on the floor, even as I felt two slender arms slide beneath me and lift me into the air. Then I felt air rushing past me, and a blur of movement as well. Aha! What? The lurker! Lurker? Then Zara? Damn straight I am! Oh! She's saving me even though I was mean and she was mean to me. Here, I bought some presents for you. I was well aware of movement and was able to focus well enough to see something red flying past my face, as well as a stench of something burning. I like how I made Adriana and Zara pretty much sound the same except with a slightly different inflection. And when I heard multiple explosions taking place in rapid succession, I realized on some level that the Underworlders had been treated to more of Zara's dynamite. But even as I struggled to get my mind back from the brink of darkness, other familiar voices were heard. Familiar, welcoming voices. Look, there they are! I see them, but I don't see... If you're talking about your lost wanderer, I've got him right here. Yay! I live! I felt us landing after a heap, and I could vaguely make out Asahi and Dawn's faces as I looked up at them. But everything was distorted. Between the darkness of night and the darkness that had been set loose in my heart, everything was warped and twisted. And even worse, as I looked up at the two overworld girls, I felt the surge of the evil Gwenor had unleashed within me. Every cool desire, every malicious act of rampant lust that had been locked away in the back of my mind was on display before my eyes, no matter how hard I fought them, or how much they repelled me. And I just couldn't stop it, no matter what I did. Look, but unless you want to lose him to the darkness, I suggest you work fast. You're right. He's on the brink as it is. Asahi, Zara, cover me. I need to get to work. Got it. Let's give those Underworlders a real blast. Yeah, right. At this, Asahi began firing some of her arrows at the Underworlders, while Zara lobbed further handfuls of dynamite, where she seemingly pulls from nowhere. And I'm pretty sure that the Underworlders were fighting back, judging from the arrows sent our way, as well as some fireballs. But I couldn't make any sense of it. All I could do was thrash about on the ground as Dawn knelt beside me, trying to fight down the urge to take the bunny girl and subject her to the evil that was now savaging my every thought. Just hang on, Taki. I know it's hard, but I just need you to be strong for a few seconds longer. Please help. With these words, Dawn angled her bunny ears forward until the ends were pressing against my forehead. And to my surprise, they felt pleasantly cool, as if they were a cold compass being applied to someone with a fever. Compass? The fuck? Compress! God damn it, brain. And even more importantly, that cool sensation sufficed into my mind, slowly diluting the evil that had been unleashed within me. Stop them! We can't let the Overworlders have the block user back! No! I won't let you hurt Taki or anyone else ever again! Ooh! Asahi fired another arrow, and this one unleashed a blinding flash of light. The three Underworlders let go a panicked shriek, and Zara hissed in annoyance. But all I could really see was Dawn's face coming into greater clarity, and feel my thoughts soothing. The evil that had been unleashed was slowly draining away, spilling back down to the dark recesses of my own mind, returning to whence it had come from. We have to get out of here! What? Are you insane? We can't lose that guy! He can command the blocks! He ruined everything! He needs to suffer and die! Listen to reason, you two! Gwenor's already exhausted and you're low on ammo. If we stick around long enough for that bunny to bring him back to the light, what do you think will happen to us? Fine. If we can't have him, then no one will. My thoughts had cleared enough for me to understand what had been said, and I really didn't like the sound of it. And I liked it a lot less when I saw an arrow flying overhead and impacting upon a nearby tree. Aha! Which then which then exploded into large chunks that were even now tumbling down upon us.
Blah, blast!
Ooh! In the time it would take to blink, Zara lunged at me and Dawn, wrapping her arms around us both. The bunny girl and I let out squawks of surprise as she forced the three of us out of the range of the cascading blocks, before the three of us tumbled to the ground in a tangled heap of arms and legs. Taki! Why are you... Huh? As Dawn straightened herself and me out, already placing her bunny ears to my forehead once more, Zara rose to her feet and grunted.
They're already gone. That explosive arrow was more of a distraction than anything else. Ha! That girl would have made a fine lurker. So, what now?
Let them go. Taking care of Taki comes first. How's he doing, Dawn? Any better?
A bit. They really did a number on him, so it's going to take a few minutes to bring him all the way back to the light. At least we still have a chance of bringing him back. Thanks to you, Zara.
There was an awkward silence in the wake of Asi's words, when that was ended by a snort of annoyance from Zara.
Let me guess. You're wondering why I didn't mind my own business like anybody with a bit of sense would. And put my butt on the line for him, right?
You did make it clear that you didn't feel like waging this war was your problem. So what made you change your mind?
This war isn't my problem, and I've changed nothing. But, honestly, an overworld run by the Underworlders doesn't sound like my kind of place. And, well, I saw what this guy did back at your village, and...
My mind was still somewhat fogged by darkness, but as dawn slowly brought me back, I could make out Zara's expression, and saw something softening it just by a little.
For the first time, I started believing that you might actually have a chance of winning this war. Besides, I don't like the idea of anybody thinking I'm a coward. Got that?
I was in no shape to speak, but as I looked up at Zara, I was able to manage the tiniest of smiles of gratitude.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to what I was doing before I had to waste my time on you three. See you later. Whee!
With that, Zara seemed to blur, and an instant later she had disappeared into the darkness of the night, like Batman, leaving me with Asi and Dawn as the bunny girl continued to tend to me, and the archer knelt down beside me, took my hand in her own. Stay with us, Taki. Let Dawn lead you back to the light. Don't lose yourself to the darkness. Heaving a deep breath as I slowly settled down, I managed a brief nod to Asi, and as she smiled in response, I felt my mind clearing more and more, the evil imagery that had assaulted me slowly fading away. But even so, the memory of the onslaught I had suffered remained, and as the minutes passed, I slowly recovered, and found myself feeling sick to my stomach. How could I even think of doing that to them? How could even a part of me ever... And as the last vestiges of darkness faded from my mind, as Asi helped me sit up, and both girls smiled gladly at me, I wanted to hide myself from them. I wanted to find the nearest rock and crawl under it and die in solitude, for I had seen another side of myself. A side that thought nothing of rapturous pleasure at the expense of another living creature. Taki, I know you've been through a lot, and I'm so sorry that it took us so long to find you. That you had to go through what you did. But we need to go back to Kahe Village. There's still a chance that these Underworlders might come back, or that Gwenor will recover and try to take you again. Do you understand? I thought about what had happened before. I thought Gwenor again taking me, and once more trying to drag me down into the darkness. And as I did, I felt another bit of my heart die. Then, we need to... Asi, Dawn, you have to know that I didn't... Before I could say another word, Asi wrapped her arms around me, leaving me stunned, speechless. Why was she hugging me? How could she even bear to touch the thing that I was? A thing that could hold such evil thoughts. Who had been this close to darkness and light? Whatever world we come from,
We exist between both of them, and we choose between them every single day of our lives. Taki, ever since we've met, all I've seen you choose is the light. You've helped me when you didn't have to. You felt grief for the people that were turned to darkness. You were willing to put my welfare ahead of your own. You're a good person, Taki, and I know that whatever it was that Gwenor showed you, whatever seeds of darkness they might be, whenever you have the freedom to make a choice, you always choose the light.
How can you possibly say that? You don't know what's in my heart. I saw it. I saw my evil self with my own eyes. And if Zara hadn't showed up when she had, that thing, it would have...
You're not the first one the Underworlders have done this to, remember? Think of the Darklings, Taki, and try to remember that they used to be people like you and me. People who could choose between darkness and light. You're not the first person we brought back from the darkness, and I sure hope you're far from the last. But what they all went through after we brought them back gave them back their minds. They had to live with a lot worse than seeing whatever evils their minds had cooked up. They had to live with the fact that they actually did all of it.
I thought of the Darklings, of the horrors that I had watched them unleash upon the people of this world. I thought of the village I had seen turn to darkness, and its people, and how their sanity was being ripped away. And I thought about what it would be like to wake up from that nightmare, only to know that every horror that had taken in its place was real. That's what makes the Underworlders happy, debasing us, humiliating us, making us feel shame even as we destroy ourselves in this war. So all your condemning yourself for the things you can't control will do is give them greater joy and destroy your own heart. So please, Taki, let it go. I know it can't be easy, and I can only imagine what you saw when they were trying to turn you. But please, don't let what happened tonight destroy you. Don't let the Underworlders have that victory. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't really say anything. On one level, I realized that what Asahi and Don were trying to say made sense. But at the same time, they had no idea. No idea what it was like to look at every evil your mind can conjure up. To see a part of you that would gleefully commit such atrocities. Or did they? Was it possible that one of them had gone through what I had? That Asahi or Don had been a Darkling themselves? That they...
Look, I know this isn't easy, but we really need to get out of here. We can't risk being out here all alone if the Underworlders try something again. Can you get up?
Taken aback by the sudden shift in conversation, I dumbly nodded and proceeded back to my feet.
Don, I know that drawing the darkness out of someone takes a lot out of you, but can you create a rabbit hole? Take us right back to the village? I'm not at my best right now, but yeah, I can do.
Rabbit hole? Oh dear. Is it literally just a hole like Bugs Bunny would just make? Asahi just gave a weak smile as Dawn placed her hand on her lips and blew a kiss, sending out streams of hearts. The fluttering hearts rapidly circled on the spot of the ground before exploding into a shimmer of light and a pink hole into the ground. All the while I looked on, my recently recovered mind requiring a few seconds to make sense of what I was seeing. Wait, you can create tunnels to someplace else? Like Quinor?
Yeah, but not as slimy. Why?
I didn't know you could do that. Dawn flashed me a mildly flirty smile at this.
We haven't known each other that long, remember? There's a lot you don't know about me.
Even as I silently conceded at this point, Dawn hopped into the rabbit hole and immediately disappeared from sight. Well, all the while Asahi gently placed one hand upon my back and the other on my arm and easily guided me through the hole as well. I'm so sorry about what you went through. If we could have, we would have used a rabbit hole to get you here sooner. But Dawn would have had to know exactly where you were in order to do that, so... I nodded shakily at this, still too off to do anything else. But even as I did so, something else returned to my thoughts and prompted me to look squarely at the woman warrior next to me. Oh... I'm glad I'm safe.